Hi, I'm Malin Johnson, and we are here for the September On the Bricks TV show, and we are at the Bank of the Panhandle for the first session on business and breakfast.
My name is Sally Hawkins, and I'm with Bank of the Panhandle, and I just want to welcome everybody. Thank y'all for coming out this morning to Business and Breakfast. So what is Business and Breakfast? The idea for Business and Breakfast, we had it about a year ago, and we did an 8-week series, weekly series on different things that we thought were relevant to small business owners. We are bringing back Business and Breakfast this year with a little different twist. We're going to do it once a month for the next 4 months. And so it's going to be on the second Tuesday of every month, and you can see on some of your handouts what our current schedule is. If you guys don't like that, if there's something else you're interested in learning about, let us know. We'll bring in the people. You show up and we'll all learn together. So the idea for Business and Breakfast was we know some things about small business owners, which is there are pretty significant barriers to entry anymore. We know that small business owners are kind of a dying breed. We know that little businesses really struggle when compared to big box retailers, to Amazon, to Walmart. And we want to do everything we can to keep small businesses in our community. Partly because we also know that small businesses, every $100 of revenue they generate, somewhere between $50 and $70 stays local, as compared to big box retailers where maybe $15 stays local. And so there's a huge difference to the economic impact on our community. And we want to do all we can as a bank and as a community to encourage small business growth, small entity growth, community involvement, those types of things. So today we're going to be talking about social media. Why social media? We realized that for 18 to 35-year-olds, they are spending at least 6 hours a week on social media. That's a lot of time. And we thought if we could get our brand out in front of them, it had to be good. To have that brand recognition, to start having those conversations, it's where people are, so it's an easy way to engage people where they are. And so that's why Bank of the Panhandle cares about social media. But we also realize that as community members, as small business owners, as entities, y'all care about social media too. And so I did what I always do when I decide I'm going to do something, which is I jumped headfirst in and I took a social media class. And I have some things that I think are interesting that nobody in there I would have never thought of. So I think we have some information to share. Erin Moore, who really runs the bank social media, has taken a couple of social media classes through college courses. And so she has some ideas, and she's going to be here to answer questions that I can't. So that's social media. And what I'd like to do right now is have introductions. And so you can see on here on the board there's 4 things, and they're not easy, they're not hard to remember. But I'd like your name, the entity you're with, any goals you have for today so that we can make sure we're trying to answer those as we go along, and then any social media platforms that you use. So for example, my name is Sally Hawkins. I'm with Bank of the Panhandle. And my goal for today was to have people to talk to, so we're going to check that off. And then the social media platforms that we use are Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Malin?
My name's Malin Johnson. I'm with Main Street Guyman. My goal today is to learn more about social media because I just hit or miss. And basically, I only use Facebook.
My name's David Winger, and I'm with Panhandle State University. My goals today are really just to be here and meet people and learn something. Yeah, be on TV. I've been on social media for a long time. I do Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Google. Google has a lot of
Google
social
Plus.
media stuff. So anyway, I can't remember them all.
My name is Audrey Marshall, and I'm with the YMCA, and I just want to learn how to reach more people that we're not reaching. The platform that I use the most is Facebook. Tiana kind of keeps up with the other parts of the social media, but I'm better at Facebook.
Divide and conquer.
My name is Steve Tuttle. I have a Sound Service Radio Shack, local retailer, and I just want to learn as much as I can as far as we use Facebook, but I don't think we're using it effectively. But just want to learn as much as I can.
I'm Mike Shannon, Executive Director of PTCI. I'm here today for, I guess I'm old school. I kind of like the networking. You used to have to travel to network. Now you got social media. You can reach so much more people. So yeah, the more you learn, the better. So.
Tyler Griffin. I'm a Top Hand Western store, and we are very new to the retail set. And my wife is the one that done all the social media. So now that I'm in the store, I had to learn how to get on the computer and do things like that. So I'm just any kind of knowledge that I can have, so that I can reach people, so we can stay open is great.
Tiana McCowan, Director of the YMCA. Goals, same thing. We both do separate things, Audrey and I, but we just want to get better and continue to reach more people, the people that we're not reaching. And then personally, I'm Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Tumblr, and I think that's it. Instagram. Yeah.
I'm Arlene James with the OSU Extension. My goal for today is just to learn more. I think education is very important, and the more we know, the better we can be. I have a Facebook account, personal. I have 2 accounts that I got on for my job. I'm on Twitter, except I can't remember my password. I have a LinkedIn account and YouTube.
Great.
My name is Josie Kerr. I'm the manager at Reed's Furniture, and I'm just here to expand my horizons because I do Facebook and I do Snapchat, just personal. But Facebook and Google is my go-to. I mean, I see something going on, I go immediately to Facebook, think, oh, what's going on? Somebody there knows. So we just want to be able to reach a lot more people that way.
I'm Deborah Hedrick, and I'm secretary at the First Presbyterian Church. And our church has a Facebook page, and I just thought I could benefit, or the church could benefit, maybe we'd get some ideas of getting more people could see what's going on at our church and what missions we have.
Rhonda?
I'm Rhonda Purvines, and I have Merle Norman Cosmetics, and I hope I'm a sponge and I really obtain a lot because I hate when my help knows more than I do. And it's a fact.
I am Lane Foote. I am the new owner and trainee at Reed's Furniture. Soon to be, we hope, something new. Just here because we're launching website, Facebook, Instagram, and I want my people to be out there. That's the only way you can do it this day and age. So just learned that at market, and I want to be out there.
I'm Molly Landis, and I'm just here for possible future endeavors. I use Facebook and Google also, so Instagram, but I don't get on there much. So I'm just learning more.
Hi, my name is Holly Montoya. I'm floor manager at Reach Furniture Store. I'm here to learn more, and I am using Facebook to promote Reed's Furniture. We're just wanting to get more customers and for the public to see more stuff that we are bringing in.
Trudy?
I'm Trudy Hart. I'm with the Texas County Health Department TSET Healthy Living Program. We do currently have a Facebook page, but thinking about expanding a little bit. So I'm here just to learn and hopefully get some networking ideas.
I'm Chelsea Capelucci with Brown & Associates Insurance.
We, as a business, use Facebook. We have the availability to use Hearsay Social, which has been a huge tool for us. We also have a website that needs a lot of work, and then personally I use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I feel like I grew up with the technology world, so I should have a really good idea of how it works, but I honestly don't. There's a lot that I realize that I don't know, so I'm really excited to learn some more things today.
I'm Christy Beck with Brown and Associates, and I got tasked with doing Facebook, and I don't know that much about it, so I'm just here to learn whatever I can.
Great. All right, we get everybody? So before we get started, I do want to encourage, please ask questions. I'm going to cover a lot of material today. If I say something that doesn't make sense, or if you say, I know that, but I want to know about this, ask. And if I don't know the answer, Erin hopefully will, and if she doesn't, we'll figure it out together. I also am hoping that we can collaborate here and share ideas and share what works for us and what doesn't. And we've played with Facebook for a long time, so there are definitely things we think work better than others. And so let's all share that information and get better together. Oh, going the wrong way. Okay, so our agenda today is we're going to do a brief overview of the social media platforms, and then we're going to talk about strategy, avatars, calendaring, and next steps for social media. All right, so we looked this infographic of social media explained. Every social media platform, you're having kind of a different conversation. They target different audiences. There are different people who are using them. And with those different demographics, you want those conversations to look a little differently. Now, that being said, your voice among all platforms should be the same. So if you're using Snapchat, which is usually considered for a younger group of people, and you're silly and not very professional, and then you turn around and you have a LinkedIn page and you're in a suit and you only use big words on it, you're sending a really confusing message to your viewers. Which one are you? Are you Snapchat or are you LinkedIn? And so you want to use the same voice, but the conversations and the things you talk about are going to be different. So on Facebook, you say, I like donuts. On Twitter, which is much more instantaneous, you say, I am eating a donut right now. On Pinterest, maybe you find how to make a donut. So you're pinning a recipe to a board. Pinterest is very much driven by the how-to, solving how-to things. How do I dress, or what's a great birthday idea? Instagram, here's a photo of my donut. And on LinkedIn, you're saying, one of my skills is eating donuts. And finally on Google+, which we are not going to talk about a lot today, but you're saying, I'm a Google employee who eats donuts. So how many of you guys are Android users? Most people who have an Android phone are using Google+. You may not realize you're using it, but that's kind of part of the Android. Okay, Facebook. I think everybody in here uses Facebook. What we know is that most people have 3 to 5 social media platforms. So I think most people start with Facebook. I guess it's the gateway drug, if you will, and then expand out to other avenues. So Facebook is the most commonly used. And I was talking to Paul Montgomery about this yesterday, and if you know Paul, you would expect that he would argue with me. And he said, well, you know, there may be 30% fake profiles on Facebook, which is true. There's a lot of hubbub right now about how many fake profiles there are, and people build a fake profile and then they sell it, and there's all sorts of stuff going on with respect to that. But based on what we really know, Facebook has a ton of activity. We know that 68%, sorry, let me find my fact sheet, 68% of US adults are using Facebook. So that's a ton of people. We know that between the ages of 18 and 29%, those people who are online, 88% use Facebook. So we have a ton of opportunity, is how I look at it, with Facebook. How many of you use your analytics, Facebook Insights? A little bit? Okay. So Facebook Insights is the very best thing that businesses or entities have going for them, because you can get very detailed information, and we're going to look at some of the insights I pulled for Bank of the Panhandle in a minute. But you can see, like, down in the weeds how every post you put is being reacted to. How many likes are you getting? How many comments? How many people saw it? What time are your users on Facebook? When's the best time to post? Those types of things. So you have really free access to this. And if you use it effectively, it helps you drive your traffic. So the goal as a business owner, as a community member, an organization, whatever it is to make it easy to do business with you. So you're on Facebook because that's where everybody else is, and you want to be part of that conversation. So, I'll get it there. Okay, so this is Insights. So if you are on your business page, your business Facebook page, up in the left corner, there's an Insights tab. And so you'll click on the Insights tab, and this shows our demographics, our gender breakout. And so we know that more women use Facebook than men. In fact, more women use social media than men, except maybe with LinkedIn. So it's not surprising to me that we have 72% versus 27%. And I would say not necessarily intentionally, but part of our target is we know women make a lot of the decisions in the household. And so we're very comfortable with this breakout. But if you know that in your line of business you want more men, you would know, hey, I've got an opportunity here to improve. We also, I'm not surprised to see that 36% of our age group is between 25 and 44. Part of that is because that's who uses Facebook, but part of that's because that's who we're trying to target. And so what we're going to talk about in a minute is our strategy, and that's driving what we're seeing. And so if you have a strategy and you're not hitting what you want, change it and go after what you are interested in. You can also see here where your fans are. So to the degree, we have 656 fans in Guyman. We have roughly 1,100 followers.
When they say fans, that's
followers. Yes, I'm sorry, followers. So you can like a page and you can follow a page, but you can follow a page without liking a page, and you can like a page without following a page. Does everybody follow, or have I spun the room around? So when you like a page, like if I personally, Sally Hawkins, likes Main Street Guyman, then people can see that I have liked Main Street Guyman. And that's great. If Main Street Guyman posts something that annoys me, but Malin's my friend, I can unfollow her. So I can still like her, but I don't have to see her stuff in my feed, in my news feed. Now, if Sally Hawkins wants to, say, follow First National Bank, which is, I wouldn't call it a competitor, but maybe some people would, then I can follow First National Bank and not like it. And so nobody will see that I'm following it, except First National Bank will, but it's not like I'm promoting that business. It's just I'm nosing in. I want to see what they're doing. So there's lots of ways to decide how you see information. And I didn't post this one, but with Insights, you can select competitors that you want to follow in Business Insights. And so, for example, Frost Bank is a very big regional bank, and we like to see what they're doing because we think they have clever stuff. And so we can follow them in Insights, and it will tell me how many likes and how much reach they are getting every week as compared to my stuff. So there's a ton of information, and maybe, like for me, it's almost a little bit too much information, but this is a really great place to start if you're trying to figure out what's happening with my Facebook page. Okay.
How does this affect you as a bank when you see other banks following you?
I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see. We have some people. We have a close relationship with a bank in Spearman. I would love to see them follow me. That's fine. And similarly, if Paul Freeman's following us, Doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's all part of the conversation. I mean, social media is really about engaging people, and it doesn't bother me to see. I mean, it's no different than if I put a billboard up. Everybody's going to see it. So I kind of treat social media as this is a conversation everybody has access to. So we're not going to put something out there that we don't want someone else to see, and we're going to control the conversation that way. So a question that I have had is, when is the best time to post? And this looks like a whale. My husband told me last night, and it does. But this is our time. Those people who follow our page, this is when they are on Facebook. And so you can see at 3 a.m., we have, 75 people on Facebook, which is kind of impressive, come to think of it. But we also have a couple of peak times. And so like at noon, you can see a little spike here. So everybody's at lunch, they're getting on, they're checking their Facebook. Similarly, from about 7 on, we have an increase until about 9, and then falls off, and then after 10, it really falls off pretty steeply. So whenever we're trying to schedule our posts, it's helpful to have this information. It helps us to say, okay, well, really between 6 and 9 is when the most people are going to see our posts. And part of what I'm about to say might be my own conspiracy theory, but I believe if you post at the wrong time, like your post falls into Never Never Land and nobody ever sees it. And so we think posting at the right time is really important, and that's kind of a critical part of your strategy, is when is the best time to post and how do we make sure we're going to get maximum exposure for that. Now, any questions about this?
So knowing when those peak times are, when do you try and post to follow that? Right before, right at?
So, Erin, can you come up here? Sorry. Can you speak to what are the Facebook tells you when the most users are on? What are those times?
Between 1 and 3.
In the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. So Facebook then comes out and says most of our we have more users on between 1 and 3 p.m. than any other time. Now that doesn't mean that's when your users are on.
Yeah, these are our users.
But for us, we think posting in the afternoon, like 3, 6, maybe 11 if you want to hit that noon spike, we think that's helpful. Now that being said, a couple of months ago, we posted for Flag Day, we did a giveaway, and we posted at like 6 a.m. And we had 20 shares by 10 probably.
Is it instantaneous though? When you post, then it goes right then.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you schedule it.
Right.
Right.
And so that's what we do. We'll schedule it to drop at those times that we think people will be looking. And to spend a whole day on social media just scheduling those posts.
And so does anybody else schedule your posts? Okay. So we schedule posts too, and we use a program called Hootsuite, which we'll talk about in a minute, to help us. And it sounded like, Chelsea, y'all are using something, right? Okay.
Well, after you go to Insights, does this all show up, or do I need to click another thing?
Well, whenever you go to Insights, so you're going to go to Insights, and then on the side, what I didn't capture, on the side there's a column of
different areas.
Yeah, there's probably 15 different tabs you can click on.
Okay.
And it shows you all sorts of stuff. And these are some of the things it shows. Any other questions?
So do you post the same post more than once?
No. I don't, and I really don't like it if we share a post from 3 weeks ago, because I think it really affects how many people see it the second time. So for example, if we had a job posting and a week later we want to share that same post, I believe it's better and we get more traction, and I think would you agree with that, if you just start over and post a new clean post. So Facebook is notorious for having this algorithm, and it's a proprietary algorithm, which means nobody knows what the heck it's doing, and it's really hard to predict. And what Facebook wants is for you to pay for your ads. And we have paid for ads in the past, and I don't have any real problem with doing that, and it's not super expensive, but I think Erin likes to try to beat the system. Is that fair? So that's why, part of why we spend so much time on social media is it's fascinating to me that we can drive this activity. So no, that's my belief, is that if I share a post from Malin, from Main Street Guyman, I'm not going to get as much traction as if I posted it organically. But Malin's going to get better. And so depends on what you're trying to do. If I'm trying to boost Malin, and that's fine. I mean, if Malin's trying to share farmer's market, there's nothing wrong with us sharing that post. But practically speaking, we're not going to get a lot of activity for that. Malin will get more activity for it.
Do you just copy and paste the same exact post? When you say
we usually just share it. Usually when we are posting our own material, we're posting our own material.
I'm saying you said you start over clean each time.
Yeah, so if we're going to post the same message, we use Canva. Does anybody else use Canva? So we use a website called Canva, and for us it's like what, $10 a month? It's $10 a month, and you have access to a ton of images and a ton of I don't know what I'm trying to say, sort of layouts. And so you can post, you can build a social media post, you can build an infographic, you can build all sorts of things. So we use it both internally and externally. And it makes it easy to build stuff, easy to access. You can import your logo, your colors, stuff like that. It's not super expensive, and it makes our life way easier. It's easy to pull in photos and put a photo or make a photo collage or do all sorts of stuff. So
That's why
we
your
use.
posts are so pretty.
Yeah, thank you.
They are.
So that's how we do it. We built that on Canva, that business and breakfast page. And so we would just pull it back down from Canva and pull it back up. Okay, so video. So this is showing how different post types are received. And one thing we also know is that video, Facebook is really pushing video. So you can see video gets way more engagement than anything else. And then of course photos. We're big believers in faces. So we think human faces is what people like to see. Have y'all seen that to be true? So if we take a picture of cookies on Thursday and post it, it won't get near as much feed as if we put a picture of Coulter eating a cookie or something like that, a video or a cookie, I don't know, cookie contest, something silly. So for sure video gets more traction, and then photos, and then really like a plain status gets very little feed for us. And I don't know how that affects. Do y'all see that to be the same? Have y'all looked at your insights well enough to know? All right. Okay, so then you've got all that on all your big stuff, like overall your whole page, and then each post has its own analytics. And so you can see we kind of passed the hat for school supplies last week, and we put that on Facebook. We reached 1,300 people, and we had 47 reactions, comments, and shares, but we had 98 post clicks. So roughly half of the people who saw our page actually reacted to it. But a post click, and you may know this better than me, it's basically they didn't click on the photo, and they didn't like it, and they didn't comment on it. So they clicked on it to get it bigger, but they didn't actually pull up the photo alone. And you can see right here, there's these little eyes that when you're live, you can hover over them, and it gives you more information about what that's telling you. Questions about that? It's really, like I said, it's fascinating to me. It's super confusing. We can talk more about insights in a minute if you want to, but we're going to move on. So Instagram, how many of you guys use Instagram? Okay, a handful. We recently, in the last 2 months, have launched Instagram for our business, for the bank, and are working on sort of building up that follow base. So Instagram is very much image driven. And so really what people want on Instagram is pretty pictures. It's about videos and images. There is a stories feature on Instagram. Do any of you guys use that? Okay. So on Instagram, you can put together a series of photos and videos. You can mix them all together, and that's your story for the day. So Bank of the Panhandle can have a post, and then we can also have a story. And so sort of at the top, which means to me that that's what Instagram wants to drive, there is a kind of a stories feature, and you can just hit play and you can watch one person's story after another, and I don't know how much time you could waste there. That is kind of like falling into the abyss. But then if you have a story for your business page, you can see how many people are using the page, or how many people are seeing it. Instagram Insights stink. It's down here really little. So you just saw all the Facebook. Down here really little, you can see profile visits, 0, and reach, 95. That's all they show you about Instagram Insights. And so you don't get the same data for your Instagram as you do for Facebook.
Does Facebook take into account the Instagram posts that you post from Instagram to Facebook?
I don't think so. We don't, so that's something we kind of do different, which is we don't post the same thing on Facebook and on Instagram, under the belief that most people have 3 to 5. If I go to Facebook and then I turn around and I go to Instagram and see the same thing, why? So we may post the same story, but we're going to post it differently, post a different photo. For example, we had Kelly Beasley had her, her third work anniversary, and we like to try to post work anniversaries. That's kind of a feel good for people. And so we posted that on Facebook, and then a couple of days later, we had Kelly give us a quote about what was her favorite thing about working at the bank. And so it was a different conversation using the same voice. I thought I had another Instagram post, but obviously I don't. Okay, YouTube. Does anybody have a YouTube channel? What do you put on your YouTube channel?
Well, I started it. I have over 100 Excel tutorials for my finance class.
That's awesome.
So that's us kind of really.
So we're gonna.
But I have everything on it, from personal family stuff to I've made videos and mixed them and put them on there for like PBL.
Mm-hmm.
I use that, so like at the end of the year we'll make a PBL video to show everyone, and YouTube's the best place to put it, to share it. And,
it is.
And get from it for whatever.
So YouTube has, when I was doing my research, Facebook has a ton of followers. YouTube has a very loyal kind of base, and they spend a lot of time on YouTube. My son is obsessed with Paw Patrol, and they have people who get paid to play with toys. And so they ship these people toys, and it's, this grown woman that's like, oh, Ryder, you fell into the ocean, let me save you, literally. And this is what they do for a living, and so it's fascinating, and they have millions of followers, and so the toy companies send them toys, and so YouTube, we are looking at going into YouTube and establishing a channel for not exactly the same thing, but similar, talking, kind of making a fun video about a mortgage application, because that's something that's hard to do and boring, and so if we could make it lighthearted and help people navigate those waters, we think that would be fun and might create some traction. So once you start with YouTube, it's really important to keep content coming. So people want to know that you're going to post. They want to know when to expect your posts. So if you post every Tuesday, as you grow followers, they want to know when to expect that. On any of the social media stuff, if you don't post consistently, we think it sure affects who sees your stuff. And then the way you interact on YouTube is you respond to viewers' comments. So have any of y'all commenters on YouTube? I'm not. You probably are.
I use it. I don't use it exactly to promote. I just use that as a tool.
Yep.
It's just another tool I use. But I've probably a time or two. I've had people come and comment on mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I have students that. So I have a video assignment for one class, and I have students actually, if they can, upload it to YouTube. And so this one young lady, she was a CIS major, and she made an awesome presentation on an economics subject. And she has, I don't know how many views of that thing, and you wouldn't believe all the comments. Like, I finally understand. I finally understand this. You know, the law of diminishing marginal returns. So, you know, and so
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, questions about YouTube? Have any of y'all considered using YouTube? Not on a radar.
I use it to learn, if I need to know how to do something, that's my go-to, but I never considered a practical application as to, how do I find out about mission trips? What do I need to get involved? How can I donate? How can I help? I hadn't considered it, that aspect, so.
Yeah. Okay, LinkedIn. Anybody use LinkedIn? Okay, I know some people mentioned it. So LinkedIn is probably the second. I tried to use Twitter, which we'll talk about once, and I was a Twitter failure. So I went to LinkedIn, and that's sort of probably my second favorite platform. LinkedIn is very much for professional networking, and it is a little more polished. So a lot of the photos, they call it the little picture, your profile picture, like sometimes people call them avatars, are usually people in a suit or a headshot, and it's not. Some of the Facebook photos are much less professional sometimes. And so that's what you're going to see on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn as a business, you can post job openings. I think we were looking at doing it a couple of weeks ago, and it's like $25 a day, so it's a little pricier. And we don't feel like we don't have a strong following on LinkedIn, and so we will continue to try to develop that. But really, I don't think there's a lot of people in our area that necessarily use LinkedIn. Brown does y'all do a good job, or Diana does. I don't know, do y'all manage her LinkedIn page? Yeah, that's what I thought. But y'all do a good job of posting relevant information, and Corey Hicks uses LinkedIn and does a really good job with it. And so really, it's a place where expert opinions are shared. And so it would be a place where you could share an article about, for us, the Federal Reserve raising rates and what that means to the economy. So those types of things. I follow a lot of HR, so you can find a lot of human resources information, a lot of articles about human resources. Any questions about LinkedIn? All right, Twitter. I know we've got a couple of Twitter users. Does anybody prefer Twitter? Nope. When I started trying to use it, it was when it was fixed to 140 characters, and I didn't get it, and so I just gave it up. Twitter is very commonly, for a business, it is used for customer service resolution. So big brands never intended for it to be used in that way, but you can imagine the scenario where XM Sirius charged you for the 5th time, and you spent an hour on their customer service hotline, and you couldn't get it resolved, so you took to Twitter to say, to tag them, X Sirius XM, you suck, and then all of a sudden it was resolved. And so sort of as the nature of the beast, people have realized, hey, people care a lot about what's being said about them through social media, and if I complain there, I usually get a quicker resolution than I do trying to wait through a customer service hotline. So that's the reality. Is it's a good place to go for as a business. If you were to establish a Twitter page, that would be one thing you could be doing. You can also establish yourself as an industry leader, so sharing up-to-date information about what's going on. So here again, the Fed just raised rates. This is going to be the new prime. Here's what that means for loan deposits, whatever, for us. Similarly, I'm trying to think how that might look in some other industries. But for the Chamber or Main Street or even Prezi, sharing, the Wind Catcher project. Wind Catcher's, looks like Wind Catcher's dead. Stay tuned for more information, whatever. It is not a sales platform, and really most of these things are not designed to be used as marketing tools. It's more, the word is more engagement as opposed to marketing. All right, so strategy. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. I've got documents for you guys to kind of work through on your own. I like cartoons. Why isn't social media magically solving all of our problems? I think sometimes we hope or wish that would happen, but the reality of it is that we have to have a good strategy as to what we're doing and why. So I think the third page you have talks about strategy. Yeah, that one. It's got like a table kind of. Yes. Thank you. So I would encourage you, go back to the office and kind of think through these things, and I think it would help give you some direction on your strategy. But what are my social media goals? How do I measure success? And who is my key audience? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But what are your priorities? Does anyone have specific priorities with your social media usage?
You mean what I post?
Yep.
My number one priority is what's going on in the community. So people go there to see what's happening.
And so you're really, I believe part of the reason Main Street Guyman has a ton of followers is all you're doing is sharing relevant information. And so it's information people want to see. And we'll talk about that again here in a second when it comes to avatars. Anybody else have specific goals? I mean, if you're in, yep.
People will see what we have and come through.
Come see ya.
For me, it's promote the university in one aspect. It's one of my own personal social media. But then with our business club, our PBL business club, I mean, we have a page just for that. And we promote, basically brag on the kids.
And it's a communication piece for y'all.
Oh, yeah.
To say,
hey, we're having this meeting, but also we communicate, our followers have grown a lot because we communicate with parents and grandparents, and they just love that part of it.
Oh, yeah.
So one common thread is that when you're thinking about your strategy, you want to think about what does your ideal customer want? And we'll talk about that more in a minute. So defining goals. So are you trying to increase your sales traffic? Do you have a question, Milan?
I do, because sometimes I think Brown and Associates does a good job of engaging you, so then you say, I like what they do, I want to become their customer.
Exactly.
So they're bringing new customers. Furniture store might post pictures of furniture, and that doesn't bring someone new. So I think it's not just your customer, is it your future customer?
Yes, it's your ideal customer. So not somebody who is necessarily doing business with you, but your who is the group that you want to reach, if you will. And we're going to talk about the avatars here in a minute, how to build that. Yes. So defining your goals. For example, one of our goals this year is to have 1,300 followers by the end of the year. So we started the year at about 1,000. If we can grow to 1,300, we're going to be really comfortable with that. And so we then have KPIs, which is a key performance indicator. So what are you tracking? Are we tracking growth? Are we tracking engagement? Reach is another thing. Every week, Facebook Analytics will kick out, your post reached 5,000 people this week. And so it helps you can track from week to week. Am I doing better? Am I doing worse? You can track likes, you can track follows. Sometimes you have people unfollow you, you can track that. So trying to keep track of, okay, well, what is it that we're really trying to do, and making sure initially probably monthly or weekly that you're tracking that, but then as you get more established quarterly, going back and saying, okay, our goal is to get to 1,300, where are we today? And how am I going to get there? So questions about strategy. It's a super personal thing for every business, and for sure it's different between the church and the bank and retail stores.
Will it give you your history, like if you wanted to know where I was January 1st, or it's just current? And you need to personally...
You can go back. Okay. Far back. And sometimes you can't see as much detail far back, but you can for sure see how many followers you had. And I didn't post that chart, but you can see how your likes have increased over the year or decreased, that type of thing. So did any of y'all pay for advertisements? Sometimes. We do sometimes. Like I said, Aaron's goal is to beat the system. And
Why not?
I'm good with that. Yeah. You can pay for likes, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You can also hire help. And Kyle Edward Jones has a company that gives him the material that he can post to his page. So every day there are certain articles he can choose to post, and they're pre-approved and all that jazz with the company. And so he can post those, but he's not having to do any of the work. He's just picking, yeah, I like that one, send it out there.
I guess that would be my question is when you strategize and you want to do your goals and you want to do your budget, you have to invest a lot of time or somebody, right? A person has to be over that or in charge of that somewhat.
So
Depends on what you're doing.
it does.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're doing. I personally believe it's worth taking the time to develop a strategy. And then, and our next slide actually, is your team, is who's playing what role there. So at the bank, we have a marketing team. And some of the people, we probably have 5 people who have access to our Facebook page. Not everybody is developing the content, but they can post a picture of a cookout if we're out cooking somewhere. And that's a big part of who we think we are, is we try to build community, and we want y'all to see us places. And so y'all will, hopefully you've seen us out or you've seen us on Facebook cooking out. We grilled last night. That's part of our strategy. And so we want to get that information out maybe a little more timely. Similarly, something that's really important is that you respond to messages quickly. And that drives your response rate. Have y'all seen that 100% response rate? Or usually this person responds within 5 hours. That's bad. You kind of want to respond within an hour if you can. And so part of the way we do that is we have enough people so that if one of us is out of pocket, the other person can hop on. Yesterday, we had somebody want to attend our Craft for a Cause, and they posted, we'd really like to attend, and Erin responded, and I was responding at the same time, and I didn't see her response. So we responded with kind of the same message, and we looked like to Blair that there were 2 crazy, thinking the Panhandle had lost their mind. So you have to watch that a little bit if you have multiple people who have access. But your team is an important piece of that. And within Facebook, you can have different administrators. So you can have an administrator, you can have an editor, you can have like a publisher. So there's 4 or 5 different roles that you can assign people to within your Facebook business page. Crisis management. So I know a lot of people who say, I'm not on Facebook because bad things happen on Facebook. Well, bad things happen on Facebook whether you're on there or not. And so our stance is we'd like to be there so that we can try to troubleshoot it, because inevitably we're going to upset somebody. I think all of us have had a disgruntled customer or employee or someone who posts to Facebook, and we want to be there because we want to see it. I know my mom works at a bank, and they've had some situations in the past where customers have to come in and tell them, well, so-and-so said this about you on Facebook. Well, they didn't have a Facebook page at the time, so there was no way for them to know that. So my belief is have it, but just be prepared. So crisis management, have a plan, respond, don't be rude, don't be ugly, don't block them, don't spit back. Usually you'll have a public response and then a private response to message them with. So your public response may be, Josie, I'm going to private message you. We're going to see if we can't take care of this. And then you private message her. My preference is always to go find the person or pick up the phone and call them. So if you have the phone number, call them, because it is way harder for somebody to be mean and hateful and ugly face-to-face or voice-to-voice. Social media unleashes, alternate egos. But so crisis management plan, do any of y'all talk about that? Have any of y'all had scenarios where you had to work through that? I would expect the Y would.
And then that person, the funny thing is, the number was out of service. I couldn't get in touch with them. Yeah. They didn't respond to it. So I just left it. People could see that I responded, so at least people saw that we were trying to reach out to them. So
And they put it on more than one platform.
Right,
They put it on
yeah.
Google
Yep.
as well, Google review or whatever, and Facebook. So we tried, but
We had, and you can see it today if you go to our page. They Google now or Facebook now has recommendations as opposed to ratings. They used to have ratings, and this guy got on and rated our bank like 2 stars, and said everybody's great except one person. He's fake, and like I can't do it. I can't take it off. I can't report it, and so we called the guy and said, hey. We're sorry you feel that way, whatever. Well, there's always another side to the story, and of course there was a pretty valid other side to this story, but that's just part of it. And part of exposing yourself on social media is that sometimes that's going to happen, but usually it says more about those people than it says about you. So as long as you handle it politely and correctly, I try not to worry about it. Finally, you think about what success looks like for you. That's going to be different for everybody. So for Malin, it's sharing information and collaborating. For us, it's making sure we get our brand out there. So it's hard to switch somebody from one bank to another, and we know that. And so for Bank of the Panhandle, I want to be the first bank you think of. The second you think you might want to look at something new, I hope you think of Bank of the Panhandle. And hopefully that's part of our brand message. And so think about what your goal is. And for retail, that looks different. You want to make sure that they think of you. And I think it is helpful if people have, when it comes to retail, an online option. So they can shop online if there's a call button, which is something I can answer questions about, but usually there's a call button or a shop now button, and if they have that option, I think that's helpful when it comes to retail on Facebook. Okay, just one last thing about strategy. Let's use branded hashtags to start authentic conversations as long as we can control whatever anyone says about us. And so going back to crisis management, that's a big deal. Something I did not mention, hashtags are really a big deal in Instagram. And so going back to images, do any of y'all follow hashtags on Instagram? So you can follow fitness, and anyone who uses the hashtag fitness, you'll see that in your Instagram feed. So you can see what other people are saying about things that are relevant to you. Okay, avatars. When I was talking to my husband about this last night, he said, when I think of an avatar, I think of like a little person, right? Like a little cartoon character or the movie. This is different. So throw that thought out of your mind. We're talking about customer avatars. And there's a page in your packet that is sort of guideline on how you can develop your customer avatar. Yes, there's a profile photo on there. And the goal with a customer avatar is to kind of build your ideal customer, and you want to be very specific about what that looks like. So these are 3 pretty general. You can have a kid, you can have a mom, thank you, and you can have a retiree. And the more specific you are, the more specific you are, the easier it is to reach your target audience. And so this is a sample of a customer avatar, and you want to be very specific when you're building a customer avatar. So you want to have a person in mind. So you want to know how old they are. You want to know, are they male, are they female, are they married? Do they have kids? How old are their kids? What are their challenges? What's hard for Jimmy? What's his pain points? What goals does he have? What are his values? So you want to know this person inside and out. And the theory is, if you know this person and you talk to this person when you're posting on social media, hopefully you're going to get them. Not this specific person, but people like them. And if other people see it and like it too, that's great. But you have a message that you're trying to send. So Tiana, it may be, you want some demographic to come to the Y. And so whenever you're posting, you want to talk to that person. You have a person in mind. I'd really love so-and-so's business. And so you start trying to post to those people. The same thing for the retail. You guys have specific people that you know are your ideal customer. And so know who they are. And Aaron and I talked to Tamara, which Main Street Guyman has an incredible social media tool, and I assume she'll come back up here if you ask. And
here in November.
she'll sit down and meet with you one-on-one about your social media and what you can do better, and help you kind of get some ideas. And one of the things she said to us was, think about your ideal customer. So for example, if ours is a mom, think about what are her mornings like and when does she use her cell phone? I mean, she gets up in the morning, she's got 2 kids, she's chasing around, she's not checking her Facebook. But maybe she gets to work and it's 10 o'clock and she takes a break, and she is, or at lunch she's taking a break because that's the only time she has for herself. So figure out when those times are, and that helps you drive what time you're posting your information as well. Questions about customer avatar?
Can you have more than one? We're
Yeah.
a pretty diverse little community here.
Yeah, no, you can. And so you may have.
You know who has money, for one thing, if you're retail. Big.
But it's still, there's several very specific demographics, and I'm not selling to just the ones with money. I'm selling to a lot with the finance.
To work on, you're going to work on the one that can write the check.
So,
right?
So we for sure, for example, one demographic that we want to expand on is the Hispanic demographic. And so I think that looks different and buying patterns are different, and by and large, Hispanics don't trust banks because of cultural reasons, and so that changes our message, and that changes what we are doing and how we try to attract people. So I think it's okay to have multiple avatars. You don't want to have so many that your message gets lost. And so I also think if you have different platforms, having different avatars for those platforms is probably appropriate as well. Does anybody have avatars? Okay, calendaring. We use a program called Hootsuite, and we think it does a good job. Erin, do you have anything you want to say about that?
So anybody use Hootsuite or any kind of scheduler?
I have used it now.
So it will teach you how to use its program. But you can link so we have 3 platforms that we use: Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And so you can schedule all of your posts, and I try to schedule our posts in advance. And so it takes the load off of me, and I'll have to come in every day and schedule all of those messages. I can do that within a half a day. And then it will give you tips and things that you can do to improve your posts, and it has analytics. We haven't been on it long enough to get analytics yet, but there's a cost to it, but it's worth to manage your time, in my opinion.
But the basic part is free.
I believe so. Yes.
It used to be.
I believe so.
I just looked it up and it said 3 platforms for free and $29 a month after that, or something like that.
So then your publishing tools will help you kind of direct your publishing efforts, help you build things, help you get them scheduled so that you can kind of be on autopilot with your content. And then really all you're having to do on a regular basis is manage. So back to Josie, your question of this does take a lot of time, but there's a lot of people who spend 6 hours a week on it. And so we try to get as much of it on autopilot as we can. And then all we're worrying about is the comments. What are people saying? What do we need to troubleshoot with respect to that? A content calendar, sometimes called an editorial calendar or a social media calendar. We think they're very helpful. They help you know what you're going to post every day. And so you could build a calendar that looks kind of like this. And this is Hootsuite's, and their template is free. And you can kind of have like a week by week. So this is your week, and these are the things you're going to be posting, or your day in this case. I think this is a day one, right? Yeah. And so your time, you can have a date there instead of a time, but this is what will be posted to these different these different platforms on a given day. And so once you have this built and your content built, and if you get your posts scheduled, then you're not wondering, you're not thinking, okay, well, what's happening today? What can I post about today? You're just on autopilot then. Does anybody use a calendar? Nope. Do you think would anybody try to use a calendar? It for sure, I think it helps Erin manage time, so she can spend a couple hours or an afternoon once a week and know everything that's going to happen for the next week. Now that doesn't mean something won't come up and we won't want to post on top of it or replace a post, but at least you're not worried about not posting.
I guess we kind of do the same thing, but like with seasonal programs. So like now that summer's over, fall's hitting, I spent like 2 days scheduling stuff, and then I'll make sure it's like maybe one swim lessons I'll do every 5 days, and then the next thing I'll do every 5 days, just make sure it's not the same 5 days, you know? And so I guess, and when you do it on Facebook, it kind of looks similar. You can see them posting, and you see the image that you post with it. Kind of like that on the calendar.
Yep, that's exactly right.
How far in advance can you calendar? I mean,
I think well in advance.
well in advance. Okay.
A year.
Again, I've never done it. I've never been that brave.
Yeah,
I feel like I would forget.
Too many changes happen.
Right. But you could put something in, let's say in December or January, and then go back and edit it if life changes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think in an ideal world, we would be 90 days out. We would have a calendar built for 90 days. And then, of course, things are going to happen. We're going to cook for someone we didn't know, and so we can trade that out. But, whatever silly holidays, celebrating yesterday was Left-Handers Day. So celebrating that seems to provide good traffic for us as well. And something fun. I try to think about, okay, why do I get on social media? And usually it's to zone out. And so I don't want anybody to sell me anything. I don't want anyone to make me do something. I want them to give me something that makes my life easier. And so when you have those avatars built, if you start thinking about, what does this person want social media for, that helps you drive your content as well. Yes.
So I know just personally, I feel like there's a certain amount of times you can post a day for it to be still relevant and not get on people's nerves.
Yep.
What would you say that happy medium would be?
We like one a day on Facebook. On Twitter, I think the answer is 5 to 10 times a day. On Instagram, we do one a day also. I agree with you. I also believe that whatever voodoo algorithm there is, makes your stuff fall off. If you post within 4 hours of each other, your first post goes into the abyss and you don't get near as much traction from it. And so sometimes that's another risk of if you have a team of people posting, that can happen. Because sometimes I'll post something not thinking about, what Erin posted, and what Erin posted was actually way more important. And hers gets just nothing, and then mine gets a little bit. But I do think part of the algorithm is designed to not get spammed either.
Yeah, is that a scary thought going into this, getting spammed a lot, or not really?
So something that I had not really thought about, but I really love the idea, is the idea of advocates. And what I've learned is that there are businesses that actually pay for advocates. And so you pay somebody to like your posts and to comment on them and to share them. And that's a really interesting idea to me. So you're paying people to drive your feed or to drive your to drive your activity. But I also like the idea of employee advocates, and so making sure your employees understand social media and understand the impact social media can have to your business, and making sure they know what they can do to fuel your business activity, or your friends or your family. But also there's about 17 people in here, and so if the 17 of us will have each other's back, we could make a significant difference in each other's social media pages. So sharing, reacting, so there's a difference between a thumbs up and a heart as far as how it fits into the algorithm, correct?
Yes.
And so a thumbs up is like, I'm super lazy and all I'm gonna do is like it. But if you love it, or you wow it, or you sad it, or you mad it, then more people see it.
It's a reaction. A like is a like.
It is crazy. So there's a like,
Very interesting.
and there is a reaction. Comments drive much more. So if you have comments, more people see it. So people, if Erin posts or comments on a bank page, then more of Erin's friends see it. If she just likes it, not necessarily. If she loves it, maybe. If she likes it, if she shares it, obviously, even more so. So that collaborating, we try, if we're working with the YMCA or when y'all do the same thing, to tag the YMCA in the posts or the Main Street Guyman or whoever. So you can do that by saying, look where we are today at Lanes or Reed's Furniture or wherever. And then it tags Reed's Furniture and Bank of the Panhandle. And so everybody who follows Reed's Furniture, in theory, should see it. And then if Reed's Furniture then shares it, then their people see it better, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
And that tagging can make your numbers go tremendously high. We had one post that went to 9,000 reacts.
Wow.
And it was just that they're having this TV show, right? And it was supposed to be in Guyman. So it wasn't that it mattered to anybody, really. 9,000 people reacted to it.
Questions about that, advocating? I try personally and with the bank to like the businesses we follow because it drives activity. And so if we'll all do that, I think we would see a significant increase in our activity. Okay, content-wise, this is the bank's formula, not necessarily what's right for you. We like pictures, we like faces, we like video. We have tried advertising CD rates. Y'all don't care. Nobody cares about our CD rates on social media. So we don't do that. Yeah. So we have a no marketing, like no direct marketing. We may tell you about some cool thing we have, or like one thing we do is if little kids bring in a piggy bank full of money, we add $5 to the deposit. And so we may share something fun like that, a picture of that, but we're not going to market to you because nobody likes it. Yeah. Has anybody else, what do y'all see drives posting better or drives likes, reactions?
Yeah.
Because
then like
we like
parents
kids.
are posting like, oh, there's your kid in the picture and stuff like that.
Tagging people that the parents don't even see the picture, but then the friends are tagging the parents.
And with kids, I'm sure you guys have to make sure y'all have a
release.
A release. So that's something important to remember is, especially when it comes to minors, and especially like I think foster kids and things like that, usually you don't just post pictures of kids. You need to have permission to do that because some parents have kind of a no social media thing for their kids. I've got some friends who have a 3-year-old that I've never seen because she's not on social media. So just be mindful of that. Okay, pay, not to pay. We've talked about this a little. If you don't pay, you're trying to beat the algorithm and you're praying, which is what we do some. There's times we post, and you can advertise on Facebook for, I don't know, dollars a day. I mean, really not very much money. Like I think $5 is maybe the minimum. You can go lower, but
I try to beat the algorithm. So
one of the things about advertising with Facebook that's kind of cool and would probably be good for the retailers is you can pick who they target in the advertisement. And so you can say, I want people kind of like your avatar. I want people between this age and this age in this region. And I want them in this Guyman, I want them in this zip code, or I want them between Guyman and Amarillo. And it'll show you a circle whenever you're building that, and it'll say this is your potential reach over the 5 days of this advertisement.
Is it Facebook that sometimes offers like Facebook Bucks?
Mm-hmm. So they keep trying to offer us free posts. I don't know if you've noticed that. They keep offering us $10 extra if we'll boost a post because we haven't boosted in a while. And so they do. They're trying to drive towards that. Mm-hmm. So you are promised if you pay for so let me take a step back. There is boosting a post and there is advertising, and those are two different things. So
it's boost.
Yes. So boosting a post increases how many people are going to see it. Advertising is a specific advertisement that is like placed in your feed, and it'll say advertisement, I think.
Yes, sponsored.
Yeah, sponsored post. So those are two different deals, and the publishing tool in Facebook will help you build those advertisements. So if in January y'all were doing no startup fee, then you might advertise that as opposed to boosting, kids camp.
Does that put it, now I notice when you're watching videos, it'll be like advertisement starts in 5 seconds. And then it brings up a whole nother advertisement. Is it that advertisement or is that a whole different platform?
On Facebook or on YouTube?
On Facebook. Like you're literally watching like a 3-minute video and within 45 seconds, another video pops up.
I think that is not a Facebook.
Okay.
That's not something you've posted in Facebook. That's like a YouTube video
so
that
it's like
has been posted
another
in
platform
Facebook.
flying out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain again what the boost is versus a paid ad.
So a boost, if I post a picture of Erin's anniversary, which was yesterday, 4 years, if I post that, I could boost it so that more people would see it. And the theory is that if more people see it, then more people will engage in it and more people will like it and maybe in turn like your page. And
that's one level they ask you to pay for.
Yes.
Versus just a straight up ad.
And then an ad, they kind of have very specific things about boosting and ads, which is something that annoys us, which is they don't want any words on them at all. And so if you post a advertisement that has a bunch of words on it, they will either refuse to approve it or they will tell you that it's limited reach because it doesn't meet their standards. So they want a picture, like Lane in your case, they want a picture of a fancy couch or a couch, and maybe you have people sitting on it eating popcorn, I don't know, whatever, but they want a picture and they don't want it to say Reed's Furniture on it. They just want the picture. And then in the caption above it, you can put all the advertising details. So that's one of the things, even sometimes if we put our logo on it, it'll kick it out of being able to be advertised. So.
Just the logo.
Depends how big the logo is. So the rule is what?
20%.
Yeah. So no more than 20% of the.
Is that because it has Bank of the Panhandle in it?
Right, well, and the B and the P. But so if we blow it up and that's like the majority of it, then it will affect how much activity Facebook gives us.
How long does it take them to approve an advertising?
Usually 10 minutes, 10 to 30 minutes. They tell you it may take
24 hours.
Yeah, a day.
But approval is needed for all advertising?
Yes. Well, so there's a difference between posting, which is, I'm guessing, what you guys are doing.
Right.
But to advertise it, yes, they review it and make sure they're happy with it. Questions about that?
Is the boosting and advertising the same price? Do you know? Is it one
boosting and
package?
advertising. The prices are comparable, but they're different and they have different goals. Your kind of end goal is different. So for advertising, usually you would run an advertisement for a week or something. For boosting, you might boost for a week, but if you're boosting, you're just trying to get more kind of organic reach. When you're advertising, you're specifically targeting people and you want them to follow you. Is that a fair way to explain that?
Yeah, because when you boost it, you say, hey, I want to boost this for $7.
Yeah, I want Josie's sister to see this now.
You're going to boost this until they've spent your $7. Ads, you say, hey, I want to spend $3 a day. And I want to spend a max of $30. So they'll boost, they'll put that ad out in people's feeds until they've spent that $3. And they have this algorithm that says how much they're going to spend per ad placement. And it's it can get hairy, but it's manageable.
Okay, I've got a few takeaways. Don't repeat the same image and copy on more than one channel. It's annoying. And so I don't know, do y'all see the same stuff over and over and over across different mediums? One of the things that we see from the classes we take is don't do that. You can say the same thing, or you can cover the same topic, but say it differently and talk to who you're targeting on that platform. Have a single voice. So even though the conversation is different, the voice needs to be consistent. If you're, professional-wise, however that looks, your voice should be the same, which is something else that you have to remember when you have 4 or 5 members of a team. Everybody talks differently, everybody writes differently. Your voice, you want that to be consistent. Okay, make sure you understand the metrics and insights and use them to your advantage because they're there and there's a lot of opportunity with those. Use a business profile, no exceptions. A business profile over a friend profile offers a ton of functionality that you don't otherwise have. Build your avatar and talk to those people. Keep your content fresh. Collaborate and share content from your community. In other words, advocate. Use a social media calendar. Don't wing it. That helps you stay organized. Make sure that you have a plan. Clickbait and spam are unprofessional. Don't do it. Use social media as an engagement tool, not just as a marketing tool. And I know we've talked about that, but we can't say it enough. It's about engaging. It's not just about marketing. And finally, this kid says, I may be a YouTube star, but are you sure I'm a good fit to promote your mortgage business? I'm only 12. And the suits say just do something millennial. And so I think it's important to remember we all want to be part of that social media game and we all want to be part of that conversation, but we still need to be us. And it would be crazy for us to have Aaron's 8-year-old daughter market our mortgage product for us. So don't try to be something you're not. So be who you are, and that will attract your customers.